What is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I'm bringing you guys another episode of our Pokemon Ultra Sun ShinyLocke. If you guys are hyped for this episode, show some love on that like button down below, and definitely be sure to subscribe if you are new. On the last episode, we worked our way here to Brooklet Hill, of course, and it is time for the trial, man. I'm very nervous for it. I just stocked up on items, as you guys probably saw in the last episode. We've got our Mr. Mime here, our Pennywise, ready to rock and roll, and we took on Gladion, we got through Paniola Ranch, so on and so forth, and here we are to take on the Brooklet Hill trial, which is no joke. This is a tough trial. We got a question of the day for you guys as well. I am 1,000,000% going for a water type Pokemon after this episode. I'm gonna be shiny hunting for a water type. I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are. What water type shiny do you want me to go for? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm pretty torn, and I'll read off some of the different options, and there may be like a day break in between episodes or something like that. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna do it, because I definitely want to get your thoughts, so let me know. I may have already streamed shiny hunting, but definitely curious what your thoughts are. So here's a couple of the main options that I'm kind of thinking of. I think Huntail would be kind of cool. I also think Cloyster could be kind of cool, and maybe I'll do a Twitter poll, but Cloyster could be kind of cool because it's a really cool shiny in my opinion. It's very bulky on the physical side. It does have some really good offensive options, and if it gets Skill Link, man, that would be pretty solid. And also it's an ice type, so that could be good. But one of the ones that I was really thinking of is I really like Araquanid. Araquanid's like one of my favorite Pokemon. I don't think I need a second bug type though, if I'm being totally honest. But one of the really good options, let's see how much that does. That doesn't do too much. One of the really good options is Feebas into Milotic, which I think could be super duper cool, because you can actually get, let's see how much this does. We should be pretty specially bulky. Yeah, we're pretty good. You can actually get the Prism Scale right away. Like, as soon as we can surf, we can go to Kalea Bay and we can get the Prism Scale. So there's some options there in terms of what we can do to evolve a Milotic. That's some of the options. I'm still torn. I might make the decision, like I said. I may be shiny after the day this goes up just because my schedule's a little bit weird the next few days, but I'm definitely curious to hear your thoughts. So let's heal up Pennywise, because I definitely want to get Pennywise as high of a level as possible before we head into this trial. And kind of my objective for this trial, there's Lana of course, is I think we're just going to have to use Charge Bug, and we're going to have to use Charge and Spark, and that's going to be kind of the plan. I got X items. That's how we're going to get through it. I'd imagine is going to be our best bet, because this is going to be no joke. Like I said, this is going to be a tough trial, especially with only one life left on our overdrive here. That's going to make things pretty difficult, but we'll do our best. We'll have some fun, and we'll see how it goes. I'm nervous though, because I just know how tough it is. Again, I also was talking about Politoed as a cool option for a Pokemon to shiny hunt for. I've always really liked Politoed shiny, but the problem is if you don't get Drizzle, it's not nearly as good, so that's kind of the issue is when it comes to this kind of stuff, but that's okay. So there's two splashes in the water. We got to pick which one to battle, and we're also going to have to be very aware of where we can get Charge Beam, because Charge Beam is available here. Okay, so I think we have Lapras now, so let's use Lapras. Let's register it. I think we do have Charge Beam now, or we will be able to get Charge Beam. I think it's not here, it's the next spot. This guy I don't think battles you, but this guy does. Let's battle this dude here. So yeah, we'll be doing that. So anyway, yesterday I didn't stream or anything like that. I was actually in the studio working on a project, a little bit of a musical project, and a lot of people don't know that I actually did music and stuff, so I'll talk a little bit about music today, as I do try to use the ShinyLocke as like a story time type of deal. So anyway, I was at the studio recording with a guy named Rob Freeman, and he's a really awesome producer. He's done some multi-platinum hits. He did Stereo Hearts, which is by Gym Class Hero and Maroon 5, so he did Gym Class Hero's album a few years ago. He's done a lot of really awesome bands, and I actually knew him from a band called Hidden in Plain View. They were one of my favorite bands growing up, Hidden in Plain View. I absolutely love them. They were right in my like teenage, this thing is just always just slightly short of knocking out the Pokemon. That was like my teenage years, of course, and I was listening to a lot of bands like that. And actually what's super funny about it is my email address was like, actually it was 20 below is my email address, and I picked my email based on a song from this band Hidden in Plain View, because I really liked their music at the time. And I emailed the producer, and of course I email him with an email address that's based on a song that he wrote. That had to have been pretty funny. Is this a trainer? Oh yeah, it is. Let's battle her too. So I thought that was actually kind of funny. So anyway, I got to know this producer, Rob, for years now. I've been working with him for years. I think the first time I went in the studio with him, I was probably it's probably 18 or 19 if I had to guess. Yeah, probably like 18 or 19 years old. Now I'm 26, about to be 27. So that's quite a long time to know a producer and to know a guy. And he's, like I said, he's just a funny dude, really cool guy. He's a incredible musician, which I think is really cool. Just super talented. So, anywho, yeah, so I went and recorded a little thing with him. You guys are going to hear that in a few weeks. It's a little project that I was working on. I'm excited for you guys to hear it. I think you guys are going to be a little bit surprised. It's me singing. I know I'm not the best singer in the world. By far. Like, I'm not. But I like singing. It's fun. I like playing music. And I used to write music. So, basically how my music journey kind of started, for those who don't know, was I was basically in high school, and poetry was a big deal in my high school. It sounds kind of lame, but it was a really big deal in my high school. We had what's called the Poetry Slam every year, which was like the whole school got together, and a lot of people would like perform their poetry and stuff like that. It was as corny as it may sound to I don't know, the 2017, you know, kids in high school right now. It was a big deal in my school. So I used to do this performance poetry called Poetry Slam. Or slam poetry, and we would do like performance poetry is basically what it was. So it was something I liked to do in high school and even in college. I ended up doing some poetry in college too. But there was a couple kids in the school who like had a band going on, and they were looking for someone to help write the lyrics in their band, and like who better to write lyrics in a band than the guy who writes, you know, poems, right? That seems pretty fitting. So I actually knew one of the kids in the band, and I knew all the kids in the band, but you know, I wasn't really like super close friends with them really. But they were like, hey dude, like you should totally, you know, write music or write lyrics for us or whatever, and kind of be a part of our band. And I said, yeah, like that'd be always cool. Like I never really played an instrument. I played violin when I was super young or whatever, but nothing too crazy. And I did show promise at violin, but my mom would always yell at me if I played it too loud or something. It was stupid. So I just like never really got into it. That was in like probably 4th grade. But here we are, and I was like, I don't know, junior year in high school, and these kids were like, yeah, you should totally, you know, write lyrics for us and come hang out with us, and hey, actually, we need a bass player, like, if you want to play bass. And I'm like, what's a bass? Like, I don't even know what a bass is that the thing in the water? And I actually called it a bass for, like, the longest time, because I wasn't used to calling it a bass, which is actually really funny, in my opinion, that I couldn't even call it the right thing. But they were talking about the bass guitar. Bass guitar is, of course, a 4-stringed instrument, typically. Usually kind of features the low end of the music. A lot of times the casual music listener doesn't even realize the bass line. So it's definitely not the flashy instrument, of course. The joke is that the bass players usually stand in the back, and they're usually the super weird ones. And I don't believe in that stereotype. I think you can be an awesome bass player that's up front and center and whatever else. But at the end of the day, the bass player is typically focusing on providing the low end of the spectrum in terms of the music, and it's usually really tightly knit with the drummer. So it's not going to be fancy solos or anything. I mean, there are bass players who are like that, but nevertheless. So they asked me to play bass guitar, and I said, you know what, I have no idea what I'm doing, but yeah, let's roll with it. Like, why not? What's the worst that happens? So my dad was super awesome. He said, yeah, I'll rent a bass guitar for you. So I went to the music store and I rented a bass. Like that day, basically, like that day. Like, this all happened in one day, and my dad was like, all right, I'll spend the money, just like, actually, don't just like waste it. Like, try to play this instrument. I said, okay, cool. So I get the bass guitar, and I learned my first song ever, which was, I mean, I learned Smoke on the Water, but aside from that, it was That's What You Get by Paramore. So that was super simple bass line. It's legitimately like doom 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 doom. Like, that's the entire bass line. Like, anyone, I could teach anyone to play that bass line in a second. And the bass guitar, from like an entry-level perspective, is relatively easy to pick up. It can get super duper intricate, so by no means do I think bass is easy overall, but for someone who's just trying to pick up an instrument, it was like the perfect instrument to just pick up, because it's like, okay, I can legitimately hit one string and hold one fret down, and it's gonna make the sound I want it to make. And I was like really not musically inclined at all. I had very little knowledge of pitch or tone or any of that. I just really was pretty terrible, and understandably so, right? I mean, here I am at however old I was, 17, not really a musician at all. So it wasn't too surprising that was the case. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm sitting here and I'm like, I should be some sort of musical prodigy. I wasn't. So there's Charge Beam. That's what we're waiting for. So I actually wonder, what is the special attack stat on Charge Bug? Because it would I think Spark is better. I think Spark. Yeah, our attack stat is definitely higher. And we're Jolly Nature anyway, which is gonna actually reduce our special attack, which is pretty bad. So yeah, let's stick with Spark, and then let's definitely teach Pennywise Charge Beam, because that's gonna be a good idea. I definitely think that's a good idea. Let's do that. So yeah, I started learning bass, learned my first couple songs, like no big deal. You know what I mean? I was trying to pick up the instrument and try to get comfortable with it and so on and so forth. And I don't think any of these are going to be relevant. Torment, that's okay. Confide. Actually, lowering the target's special attack stat isn't the worst idea in the world when it comes to dealing with this. I'm actually going to teach that to Azure right now. I don't know how useful it's going to be. Actually, Fake Tears is kind of cool too. I think I'd rather lower it, but let's do that just in case. This is gonna be a tough battle, dude. Like, we're gonna really need to rely on Charge-a-Bug, and he's only got 1 life, so I think we just X defend and then, or X special defend and then X defend and then start attacking. But let's battle this dude. So I learned my first few songs, and we started playing in this band together or whatever, and it was super duper cool. And then a few months later, I started like getting much better at the bass guitar. I started playing like pretty seriously, and I was dating this girl at the time, and I remember like going to her house, and her sister was on the computer and was playing this band, and I said to her, who are you listening to? Like, who is that? And she's like, oh, it's Show Me the Skyline. And I was like, show me the Skyline, like, who's that? And they're like, oh, it's this local band from, you know, this was on MySpace. It's this local band from, you know, a couple towns over, and the dude's really good. And I look at him like, wow, this guy's like really good. Like, this isn't just your run-of-the-mill garage band here. This guy had it going on, man. Like, when I tell you, I'm talking from MySpace, had a lot of fans, a lot of plays. This band was serious. There were people from all over the world listening to this dude, and I was like, man, this is sick. And I looked, and it seemed to just be this one kid. Didn't really seem like he had any you know, band members on the page or anything. So I said, you know what, like, I should hit this dude up. So I got his AOL screen name. Now I'm dating myself, but I got his AOL Instant Messenger screen name, and I hit him up, and I'm like, yo, what's up, dude? Like, I saw your MySpace page, and I play bass guitar, and I was wondering if you had an opening for bass players or anything like that. And he said, actually, dude, this is crazy, but I just kicked out my bass player today. And I kid you not, and that was like such, the timing on that was impeccable. So he's had just kicked out his bass player that day, which is nuts. It's just nuts. So anyway, we ended up meeting up, and he was a really cool dude. His name was Lars, and I was definitely not good enough to be in his band. There's no doubt in my mind that there's no way that I was good enough at my instrument to be in this dude's band. Like, I remember I had a notepad and a pen, and we were writing down the notes for me to play, because there was no way I was gonna learn it by ear. Like, there was just no, and this kid, he could listen to us, and I'll never forget this, he could listen to a song on the radio, and then an hour later pick up a guitar and play the song. Like, that's how good this dude was. I was not anywhere near that. So, yeah, we had to like write down the notes and stuff like that. So anyway, he ended up becoming my best friend for a few years. I ended up being in his band called Show Me the Skyline. We ended up like going through a bunch of different member changes and stuff, but I was like the one dude who stayed in the band for a really long time. And it was more so focused on him, and I was kind of the backing band, me and the other dudes, but that was fine with me at the time. And yeah, and we ended up like doing some really, really cool stuff. He played Warped Tour, and I ended up playing Warped Tour with him a few years down the road. So that band ended up doing really, really cool things and almost got signed, like was super duper close to getting signed. Okay, so here we go. I don't know what else I can do to prepare for this battle. Let me just see if I have any cool items that might help me. A Quick Claw wouldn't hurt. I don't think a Quick Claw is a bad idea. Let's actually give the Quick Claw to Overdrive, just because I feel like that extra bit could help us. And I don't know what else I can do. I mean, I got some berries, but I don't think those are going to do much. I mean, I'll give an Oran Berry to Azure, and I mean, that's really that. I don't even know what item Pennywise has. I don't even remember. What did I give it? I can't even think. Oh, Amulet Coin. Okay, that's super helpful right now. Okay, I mean, this is it. We're like what, level 17? Let's do it, man. Charge-a-Bug, it's all you, baby girl. Like, this is your trial, so let's make it happen. So I ended up leaving that band because there got to a point where I didn't want to be a backup player. I wanted to be part of the band and like in the pictures all the time and like be one of the main members of the band because I felt that I could contribute. And this is, you know, 2 years down the road. So I ended up joining this band called The Best Week Ever. This is so scary. I ended up joining this band called The Best Week Ever, which was an awesome experience. I joined the band and I got to be a member of the band, super talented dudes. I ended up kind of losing my friendship with Lars at the time as a result because, you know, we were super tight, but then, you know, like when I left the band, I think that like really kind of severed our friendship. because I caught him by surprise. Like, I don't think he expected me to just, like, quit or anything. So, yeah, that was tough. Okay, this thing is monstrous. We're gonna drop that X special defend right now, because I'm more scared of his special attacks. I know he has Leech Slave, so I'm gonna have to X defend as well, but let's start with that. He's gonna bubble. See how much this does. Okay, so with the X special defend, it doesn't do a tremendous amount, and he's gonna call in most likely a Dupider. Okay, so that could be worse. I think this thing actually calls in Masquerain too, which is really scary. Let's go for an X defense now and try to get our defense boosted up, and then I can actually charge, and then I can go for a Spark and try to one-shot. I'm leaving that Dupider there, though. That Dupider could stay there. So he does have Leech Slave, and that doesn't do as much. Okay, so that's good. And Bug Bite, which would get rid of a berry, but that's fine. Okay, I'm gonna go for the charge now, because I think that extra boost on our special attack is worth it. So far, so good. Bubble. I probably have to heal after I charge, but yeah, that does a lot. But charge is gonna help us out here, and then I can heal. And this is really gonna just come down to not getting critically hit, I think, is really what this is gonna come down to. Okay, so that actually did a lot from that Dupider. Okay, let's go for a Super Potion here, which will get us to full. So, anyway, I ended up joining the best week ever, and then a few months later, we actually got a chance to play with MandJTV, which is one of the craziest things. Like, I say that on stream, and people are like, wait, you played with MandJTV? Like, I don't believe you. And it's actually true. I did open up for MandJTV and Gavin DeGraw at Giant Stadium, which is pretty nuts. And it was like the third show to ever be played at Giant Stadium, because they had just opened up the new stadium. So I did get that opportunity, and that was nuts. And I can dive into that a little bit more in depth down the road. So let's see how much this Spark does. Oh, he's got a Wakan Berry, or a Wakan Berry. I had a feeling that he might, dude. I actually had a feeling he might. But that means that another bubble should, or another Spark should knock him out. So, oh, there's the crit! Oh my goodness, Dupider! Oh my goodness, okay. We're gonna Super Potion again, which I probably should have done a different potion, because that's not even gonna heal us up all the way. Dude, that Dupider just scared me so much. Oh, okay, I guess it does 60. Oh my goodness. Okay, he's gonna bubble again. Okay, so far so good. Alright, we're gonna go for the Spark here against the Arachnid, and it's looking like we should be okay. This is, it comes down to this. It comes down to if he crits me or not. Okay, I'm faster than the other dude. Oh, it doesn't even knock him out. I needed to charge. I needed to charge. Okay, we're gonna stick to our strategy here. We're gonna Super Potion again. And we're almost there. We're almost there. It stinks. Had I Bug Bite and then charge Sparked, I would have knocked him out, but I wouldn't have had any real way to remember that he had Wakan Berry. Or Wakan Berry. Okay, so he's gonna bubble. Okay, looking okay right now. Spark is the play. Spark is the play. He did get a speed drop on us, but it doesn't really matter. I was hoping the Quick Claw would have activated there. That would have been super cool. Alright, so we got rid of the totem, dude. That was the big problem. We got rid of the totem. I can deal with the little guy. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure I can deal with the little guy relatively well. He's gonna bubble. I'm not taking any chances. We're just gonna click Spark. Okay. I think I should probably... Do I just Spark and not... Does that even knock him out? I'm gonna Super Potion. I'm gonna, like, play it super duper safe here. Because it's just not worth it to me. Because if I, like... Yeah, we're just gonna play it super duper safe. I think that that's the right decision. Okay. Yeah, we're good now. We can just Spark. Okay. Sweet. So anyway, I got the chance to play with MandJTV and Gavin DeGraw. I just one-shot him anyway, so it doesn't matter. That was super duper cool, and from there, I like, that band was doing really cool, but the big thing about that band was, like, they really, really wanted to go on tour after that. We were a pretty new band. We got a really crazy opportunity, but they were all like, let's go on tour, dude. We gotta go on tour. And I'm like, dude, we don't really have any fans. Like, we're not... Like, this isn't really relevant. Why are we gonna go on tour? We don't really have a ton of fans. Oh, we gotta go on tour. We gotta go on tour. And I said, I'm not going on tour, guys. Like, I'm not gonna spend all the... And it was a weird situation because I wasn't even the oldest member of the band, but I was the only one in the band who had, like, a stable job. I was working at Sears at the time. So I actually had a decent amount of income from that, and I had money saved up. So, like, I was kind of the one who's expected to, like fund the money of the band at the time, because no one else... Everyone was just focusing on music. And, you know, they were making a little bit of money doing music on the side, like producing and stuff, but it just was, like, kind of weird. So, like, when we went to play with MandJTV, I was the one who had to pay to fill the gas tank in the RV that we had, you know? So it was kind of like, you know, I'm down to be in this band, but I'm not down to just, like, drop all my money for us to go on a tour just so we can say we went on a tour. Like, that is not my thing. And the theme of me being in a band was I was never the best musician in a band, ever. I was always the worst musician in the band, but I always had the best business mind, in my opinion, the musician part's not an opinion, that's fact. The business mind, it's probably also fact, but nevertheless. So I approached this, every band I was in, I approached from a business perspective, because not that I didn't do it because I love playing music, but because you have to, at the end of the day, if you're trying to become like some super big band or famous or whatever it is, you got to have some idea of what you're doing. You got to have some sort of concept of, hey, you know what, like this is kind of how things work from a band perspective, like from a financial perspective, all this other stuff. So anyway, they expected me to flip the bill on a lot of things to make this tour happen. I said, no, I'm not doing it. So anyway, they ended up finding a replacement for me, no big deal. I left the band. They ended up going from New York all the way down to Florida, and they got to Florida, and there was like something wrong with the tour. Like, I guess the guy who booked the tour turned out to be kind of like a crook a little bit, and they weren't really getting anyone at the shows because they're relatively small still. And I think there was just like this inflated ego about the Bon Jovi thing, thinking that we were bigger than we were, but we weren't. Like, one show with Bon Jovi was great, but it wasn't our target audience. It was a bunch of, people who listen to Bon Jovi, which is not, teenagers and early 20 kids who would listen to us. It just wasn't relevant. It just wasn't. And that was the issue there. So, anyway, so they went on tour. There was two singers, a guy singer and a girl singer, and the girl singer ended up quitting the band halfway through the tour because it was a nightmare. They didn't have what they needed to have to make it work, so she legit just quit the tour. This is actually going to be an interesting battle now that I think about it, because I do have Mr. Mime to take on Poipole. I'm going to battle. I don't know if I can live an attack from a Poipole, though. With Mr. Mime, so this is kind of tricky. Whether I just go for I don't know if it has Poison Sting, if it's got Sludge Bomb, Venom Shock, I don't know. So this is kind of tricky. Like, I can obviously just click Confusion. I don't know if Confusion is going to do enough, though. But I also don't know, like, whether the rest of my team is going to want to take it on either way. It's level 20. Okay, it's level 20, so there's that answer for me. I think I should just Confusion and hope for the best. Because, I mean, I can go Overdrive, but that's... Ooh, this is tricky. I don't want to go Overdrive and have it get bopped. I'm going to go for Confusion, and we're going to hope for the best here. Oh, he's going to X Defense. Okay, that's like best case scenario here, because I think we two-shot with Confusion, and I should be faster. Okay, I think we're faster than a Poipole. I'm going to hope. We're timid. Yes, this should knock it out. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. That was scary. I really thought we were going to lose life there. Whew. Good job, Pennywise. You little legend. Okay, cool. So, anyway, okay, I must research, or something about defeat there. So anyway, I didn't go, the lead singer quit, whatever, no big deal, comes back, and the band kind of falls apart at that point. They ended up trying to do a couple other things, but it just kind of falls apart. So then I joined another band called Paper Hearts, which was the guitarist from the original band that I was in, from the school I went to, like from way back when I started learning bass guitar. So he was part of the band, which is super cool. And then and then a singer that I had like worked with on little projects here and there, like another kid I knew, Devin, who was actually a part of the original band too. So we ended up starting a new band, and that band almost got signed, dude. So we did a contest, the MySpace Records competition, and we came in top 5, which was nuts, dude, nuts. 24,000 bands, top 5, crazy. We didn't get signed though. Some other like, I don't know, kind of weirdish band got signed, but no big deal. So anyway, that band happened. Nothing really came of it because after we didn't get signed, like we were kind of like, yeah, whatever. And then it all kind of fell apart from there. But okay, what do I want to do? I'm gonna Confusion the Jigglypuff, and I'm going to Feint Attack the Jigglypuff. We'll get rid of the Jigglypuff first, I think. It's probably the best bet. Yeah, that Poipole was level 20, man. That's no joke. I wonder if this knocks out the Jigglypuff. Sweet. Yo, Wigglytuff would be actually kind of cool to use on a playthrough, I feel like. So anyway, after that band, then I actually was asked to do Warped Tour with the original Show Me the Skyline singer Lars. So I did Warped Tour, which was pretty cool. So I had an opportunity to do like a month or so on Warped Tour. We didn't do the whole tour, but we did most of it, or a good portion of it anyway, like half of it or something. So that was really cool. I got to do Warped Tour. And then from that point forward, like I decided, I wasn't going to be in bands anymore. I didn't want to do the band thing anymore. It really wasn't for me. Like, I was trying to get done with college and then stuff like that. And then I graduated college and I got my first job, and I was really like doing good with that. And then there was a band in my town that the guitarist from the original band, JJ, he had joined this new band, and I was like, all right, so you got this new band. They need a bass player. I'm like, okay, I haven't played bass in a while. It had been like 2 years or whatever, a year and a half, 2 years. And I said, I haven't played bass, but okay, I'll entertain it. Like, let me come watch you guys play. Let me see you guys practice, and we'll see what happens. Like, I'm down to come see the practice, and then we'll go from there. I saw them, and I was like, this band is so good, dude. Like, this is so good. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this is the chance right here. Like, we can take this band and go big. Like, I really believed it to this day. Like, I really believe that band, if they listen to me more, and if they're ever watching this, I stand by that. I really do. Then we could have really done some amazing things. The singer, another girl singer. I was in a lot of bands with girl singers. It was like the time when Paramore was getting really big and beyond. So that was like a big thing, like female vocals in like rock bands. That was the thing. So a lot of the bands I was in had female vocalists. But this girl was so talented, so talented at singing. Really good. We had a pretty solid drummer. He also played guitar, so he ended up moving to guitar. We found a really good drummer. We had a good guitarist. I played bass. We had the band, dude. We actually had a band that was put together, and I gotta tell you, I left out a lot of details, but it was so hard. We always were missing some piece of the band. It was always we're missing a good guitarist, we're always missing a drummer, whatever it is, we're always missing something. But this band finally had it all. Like, we had all the pieces we needed to be amazing, to be the very best like no one ever was, man. Like, seriously had it going. And basically, long story short, there was some shenanigans in the band. I ended up dating the lead singer at one point in time. This was years ago, but I ended up dating the lead singer, and we kind of like didn't tell anyone in the band, and then it all fell apart, and her and I broke up just because we just, it wasn't gonna work, and that's fine. Like, no big deal. People break up, people date. It was like no big deal. But it turned out that the rest of the band was not a fan of that whole situation. So not only did we break up, but then I was kicked out of the band because I was super focused on business, which was like I was always like, yo guys, this is what we should do. They just wanted to play shows, they wanted to tour, and same thing, I'm like, guys, we have to build an online presence. We should be like filming our band practices, streaming our band practices, like focusing on the music itself, all this other stuff. And they were like, nah, we gotta go play shows, we gotta play shows. I'm like, dude, playing shows is such a waste of time. It's such a waste of time. And I still believe that. I still believe it's a waste of time when you're trying to build an audience. I don't want to play in front of 10 people. Like, with all due respect to anyone who's got like a local band or whatever, I've done that. I played in front of 10 people. I played in front of more than 10 people. At the age I was and the band we were, I'm like, we don't need to worry about this, dude. Like, there's no reason for us to go play shows right now. Like, it does nothing for us. We spend like $200 to get to the show and set up and everything. We don't get paid at all, and we play in front of 20 people, and 2 of them end up becoming our fans afterwards. But then what does that do for us though? Like, we could have spent that 5 hours that not even 5 hours, 20 hours we spent prepping, going to the show, all this other stuff. Prepping for the show, going to the show, setting up the set list, everything. 20 hours. We could have dedicated that 20 hours on a computer, and we could have easily gotten more fans than what we got from that one show. You feel me on that? I feel like that makes a lot of sense. My phone is not on vibrate for some reason. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. So that was always my argument. So I got kicked out of the band for 2 reasons. 1, the business side of things. 2, the fact that we broke up. Whatever, no big deal. And that ultimately like kind of put me in a really tough spot in my life. I was like super bummed out after that happened, because it was just like my whole life was like work, the girl I was dating, and band, right? That was like my whole life. And like 2 of those things were stripped away from my life like in one day. So I was like left like, what do I do now? What do I do? And actually I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start playing video games again. Like, I'm gonna start playing Call of Duty again. Like, what else is there to do? Like, when I'm not at work, I'm just gonna play like Call of Duty. That's it. And thank goodness that all happened, because here I am. Here I am making videos on YouTube and Twitch. Had that never happened, I would have never started playing Call of Duty again. I would have never started ultimately streaming Call of Duty, which led to Twitch, which led to me streaming Pokemon, which led to me making YouTube videos for Pokemon. And here we are. We have come full circle from how my band came, how I started in a band writing poetry, to ending up right here where I am right now, making this awesome video for you guys to enjoy. We made it through the Iraq winter trial. I talked about my band stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. Keep an eye out for the stream, and maybe today, before this video even goes up, which is kind of weird, but that's just kind of how my schedule works and stuff. But thank you guys for watching. My name is Dan. I also go by aDrive, and I'm gonna catch you guys next time. Peace. Thanks so much for checking out my last video. If you like that one, you'll definitely like this one, and be sure to subscribe for more as I post Pokemon videos every single day.